Nobody watches The Boys and thinks they are the villain. Everyone thinks they are the guy with the crazy accent. Maybe Starlight on a bad day. Definitely not Homelander. Never Homelander. Peak is here to tell you that you are wrong. And the reason you are wrong is the same reason Homelander never thinks he is the problem. Self-awareness is uncomfortable, and your brain is very good at avoiding uncomfortable things. Let's start with V1, addict. You have Homelander energy if the thing you are most afraid of is being ordinary. Not failure, not rejection, specifically irrelevance. The idea that you could disappear tomorrow and the world would just keep moving without noticing. You post things online and the notification check is not excitement, it is a pulse check. You need the number to go up to confirm you still exist. Homelander was built in a lab and never once held by another human being. His entire psychology is a child screaming to be seen by a parent who was never there. The scary part is that half the people reading this were not built in a lab and somehow ended up in the exact same place. The audience is the only thing making him feel real. Sound familiar? Butcher is what happens when justified anger becomes a permanent identity. Something genuinely terrible happened, but at some point the trauma became the personality and the mission became the excuse. You are Butcher if you have been wronged and you are still living inside that story 5 years later, 10 years later. If every new relationship gets filtered through the damage of an old one. Butcher does not want to win. Butcher wants to stay in the war because peace would mean letting go, and letting go feels like losing. Hughie, the twink. Hughie had his entire model of reality destroyed in the first 5 minutes of the story and kept going anyway. You are Hughie if you are endlessly reasonable with people who do not deserve your reasonableness. If you have explained your boundaries so many times, you are exhausted from explaining them. If you stayed somewhere too long because leaving felt selfish. Hughie does not have a confidence problem. Hughie has a permission problem. He is waiting for someone to tell him that his needs are allowed to exist. Nobody is coming to tell you that. Starlight is the most useless character in the entire show. Anyways, on to the next. A-Train made one scared decision young and has been running from it ever since. Fast enough to outrun everything except the moment he has to sit still and look at what he gave up. You are A-Train if you are running from your problems. The thing about running that fast is that you can outrun almost anything. Consequences, accountability, other people's expectations, your own grief. If you are currently faster than your problems, Peak is telling you right now that this is temporary. Next, the Peak. I am him. I know this one from the inside. You lose the role and you realize the role was the whole identity. And then you go to Ohio, and Ohio is awful and quiet. And then the quiet starts to feel like something. And you come back and you are different, and people do not know what to do with the different version, and that is completely fine, because the different version was not built for them anyway. Anyways, on to the next. Black Noir. You are Black Noir if you have been through something so significant that words stopped feeling adequate, and silence became the default. You are present, but not available. You show up, but you do not arrive. People around you fill in the silence with whatever they need you to be, and you let them, because correcting them requires energy you stopped having a long time ago. The dangerous thing about Black Noir people is that they are extraordinarily capable. Probably the most capable in the room. But capability without communication means the people around you make decisions about you, for you, and eventually instead of you. And you let it happen because engaging felt harder than disappearing. Peak understands the silence. The difference is, Peak came back and said something. Black Noir never quite made it to the part. Let's not ask questions why. Maeve. You are Maeve if you started out genuinely believing and got worn down so completely by the gap between what things were supposed to be and what they actually are, that the belief itself became exhausting. You are Maeve if your default setting used to be hope, and somewhere along the way, it quietly became endurance. You are just tired of being surprised by things you already knew were coming. The optimism did not die. It just went underground, and now it only comes out when nobody is watching. Last but not least, Soldier Boy. Yeah, you are Soldier Boy. If you are into grannies, the question is never which character you are. The question is whether you are still making the choices that keep you there. No cap.